The coming upgrade to 5G is likely going to lead to disastrous biological effects because of the amount of dehydration inside cells that it will cause.
So they're putting systems to fry us just in our houses, and then we accept it and we get cancer and die, and they go, liberal, liberal. And as long as you go liberal, liberal, it's okay.
It's more dangerous.
They'll have Salon and Newsweek make jokes and say, why are they obsessed with pedophilia when they're all getting arrested? And why do they care about getting cancer? Well, just why do they care?
So think about all the news every single day about terror organizations and terrorist groups. This is more dangerous than a terror group because this one kills you without you even knowing that.
Terrorist organization found in most U.S. homes. There's your headline.
Yeah.
But again, it's the magnitude and the organized evil of it when even 40 years ago when they were first coming out with cell phones, I remember the top engineer over the program went public and said, this needs to be studied. Our early studies show increased cancer in rats, and that was much weaker.
If they came and knocked on your door when you called for Wi-Fi for them to come and hook up internet access at your house, and they said, do you mind if we put a small cell phone tower in your house to where people can access it if they're driving by and it acts as a router, what would you say?
And oh, by the way, the cell tower also dials in everything you're doing.
It also listens and
records. Yeah, we're putting a Wi-Fi system in your houses and making you pay for it while we're at it and spying on you. How's that sound?
You're basically hosting a mini cell phone tower in your home. Is what you're doing. And you're paying for it. They're going to be looking for people, and people are going to be paying $1 million an ounce for clean sperm. I mean, like, that's going to be
we know Obama does.
That's going to be a that's going to be a big time business in the future. So anyway, it is something that people should be aware of. If you do have wireless routers, look, if your city is
by the way, I'm not against the fact that Obama's a sperm bank.
How much would you pay for Obama's sperm?
We're trolling the media, folks. It's a joke. Okay, let's stop right there. I want to go to some phone calls. I got to do it.
Okay, let me read one thing. The California Medical Association, the branch of the AMA, wrote this in 2014. Peer-reviewed research has demonstrated adverse biological effects of wireless EMF, including single and double-stranded DNA breaks, creation of reactive oxygen species, immune dysfunction, cognitive processing effects, stress protein synthesis in the brain, altered brain development, sleep and memory disturbances, ADHD, abnormal behavior, so they can sell you the mental drugs,
sure, of course, liberal,
sperm dysfunction, and brain tumors.
I want to be positive here. People always accuse me for 20 years or so of being negative. But no, I knew that if there was a problem, people needed to know about it so that we could fix it. But now that globally, nationalists, populists are winning everywhere, and everywhere people are demanding non-GMO, and they're demanding dangerous chemicals be taken out of things. I mean, people are really waking up. It's a very exciting time to be alive. But I wanted to open the callers to talk about the election, to talk about 1 year later, what has Trump done that's right? What has he done that's wrong? He's done a lot of good things that have been positive. He's done some things that he said he wouldn't do. I mean, where's the commission to expose the vaccine damage? Why is he saying go after WikiLeaks when they helped get him elected? And I think did a great service for our republic. You know, there's some issues, but I want to get your take on it. The toll-free number is 877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. Dr. Group and I will ride a little bit shotgun in the next hour when Roger Stone's going to be joining us. He told me 3 months ago, so did Dr. Corsi, because they go to dinner with some of the high-powered folks in D.C. And we're not toadying up to the power structure. We are inside of it to figure out what's going on. When I send these guys into big lobbying meetings and things to see what's going on. And the word was even then that they wouldn't let the AT&T Time Warner merger happen unless CNN was spun off so it could continue its warfare against the U.S. And that's the Obama holdovers in the Justice Department that are doing that. So here's Google with a true monopoly. Here's Facebook. Here's Twitter. On C-SPAN a few months ago, and again last Friday, saying, oh, we censored Infowars at lunch. The head of Twitter, of operations, said, oh, yes, Congressman Wigley, I'm not joking, that's his name, we saw that Infowars was #1 and we blocked it. Their fake news that de Blasio is soft on Islamic terror, and that there was a truck attack. It was all true. It was links to the imam speaking out. Well, now today, here's an example. They say, okay, you got to spin CNN off because, again, we want to keep it basically where it is politically. The Democrats want their little propaganda outfit. So I guess they can say, look, Mom, I'm on TV, even though almost no one watches, and it's a laughingstock. But that just shows how we get the news months and months and months and months before on Donna Brazile, the stealing of the nomination from Sanders, or the JFK files, or you know, the fact that he went to the Middle East and had Islamic paraphernalia in Vegas. I mean, the real reason they hate us is we're really telling the truth. And we figured out how stuff works, and we have the contacts, and that upsets them. That really, really upsets the deep state. So I wanted to get your take on that. The toll-free number is 877-789-ALEX. I wanted to get your take on that, Dr. Grip, where we are historically right now. And then I want to talk about nightmare technologies that are being deployed to control us. You've got 5G news that I heard you talking about a few years ago. Now it's mainstream news. I've also got, like I mentioned, scientists are implanting tiny human brains into rats. I want to get into that as well with you right now. And again, we're not being negative here, fear-mongering. We're saying we should have respect for animal life. We should have respect for human life, and we should have protections for both that are reasonable. But the no man's land of animal-human hybrids, the reason for 30 years they've been obsessed with them is because there's no law in that area, and it's the wild, wild west. And why I'm concerned is they're going public now, which means they're going from beta into operational into retail. This is the full rollout right now. And so I notice this is the thing they really hate. We talk about chemicals in the water to change us by design. Show the documents. They hate that. Talk about human-animal hybrids. That's their, ooh, they do not like me talking about that. Why is that?
They don't like the frog scenario, too. I mean, with all the pesticide residue and it's just a big plan for population control, and it's a big plan to keep people sick and keep people dumbed down. But they're losing because people are smart, and they're starting to cleanse their bodies, and they're starting to realize and understand that their environment is becoming toxic, and they need to cleanse their body, and they need to become aware, and people are becoming awake. And just like you said, what's happening now is the scary part, and not to be fear-mongering at all, but you have to understand.
Well, the Crown Prince of England,
this.
He just came out and echoed his grandfather, Prince Philip, and said, we need world government to reduce population.
Well, that's, you know, they come out and say it. It's been the plan. Look at what's happening in Hollywood right now with the pedophilia. Everything is being exposed in just the right moment, so people are.
Yeah, why is that? Again, it's God.
It's God. It's everything. The harder they try to fight it, it seems like everything's backfiring more and more and more and more in their face. And people, like even the people that are so conditioned that they just could not believe that our government or the Democratic Party or Hillary or whoever could be involved in any type of conspiracy or any type of, you know, negative thing against the country. I mean, you're starting to see the connection, the global, the world order connection with individuals going down. I mean, there's obviously some military action taking place that's not being talked about right now with all of our aircraft carriers deployed. There's things going on behind the scenes.
And you're an Army veteran yourself in special groups over in South Korea. Give us your take on that.
Yeah, I know, because, I mean, we actually help a lot of those soldiers and a lot of those organizations out when they come back. We help them with PTSD when they're suffering, and the medical profession wants to put them on a bunch of medications, and they're committing suicide.
But from your deployment on the DMZ, I mean, is this all a bunch of hot air, or is this serious?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, when I was on the DMZ, there was firefights happening all the time. No one in the United States found out about it, but that was for the '88 Olympics when North Korea was threatening to attack Seoul for the Olympics that year. I think a lot of things have changed, and I think that world leadership is falling. Look at what's happening in the EU. The EU's falling apart. The control mechanisms that have been put in place are starting to crumble down, and it's because people are becoming more educated. And that's why they're shifting to more technological, silent killers, like the 5G scenario, like the mosquitoes that they're releasing everywhere, like the artificial intelligence now, what you were talking about, how they're able to control free speech and knock you off the first page and
by the way,
with USA Today.
Mainstream news. Top economists, EU has already failed, it will collapse. German government prepares for EU collapse. Juncker, the heir of the Nazi fortune, just threatened Trump a year ago and said, we'll crush America. What an arrogant piece of garbage.
So, you know, what we have to look out for and what we have to prepare ourselves for and have to be aware of is some of these technologies that we get told about years in advance. And they
go, oh, by the way, well, we know 3G gives you cancer. That's been admitted for 20 years. I mean, they know full well what they're doing. Causes mutations, breaks in DNA, causes ant colonies and bee colonies to go insane. This is all confirmed. So what does 5G do?
So this just came out on the Hill. This just came out the other day. 5G is a technology that promises to put the Internet of Things together. And state legislatures are rapidly, because the EPA and the FCC, we obviously know those are all controlled by the
They're forcing companies. Robot cars, 5G that actually looks through all your walls. It's really what it is.
It's basically, they're even talking about microchipping people. And so
no, Sweden's making you get chips to ride the bus. It's already here.
Right. It is already here. And so the 5G...
And see how once it's here, it's like, okay, they're making you get chips in 25 countries. Big deal.
Listen to this. I found out that Comcast is using private home routers for Wi-Fi hotspots, and they've already installed the 5G network in there. You can actually call up Comcast, and you need to tell them they need to turn off their 5G. It's a hidden network, so that means they're using all of the home routers.
Let me stop you, because they can get such great data communicating with all your other devices. It's an Imperial probe droid beyond the smart meter on your wall doing it outside that is scanning everything in your home and stealing the data, just like the Google cars.
And that's the integrated voice communication system.
Yeah, let's talk about it when we come back. Yeah, that's right. An Imperial probe droid. We're going to get to some of that historic night's broadcast with myself and Roger Stone the next hour. Some excerpts of it. The leftists freaking out that they couldn't control us and run our lives, and they weren't the anointed super intellectuals that controlled everyone. And again, these aren't even real liberals. I got arrested by George W. Bush twice. I exposed the whole neocon operation, all the wars. These are corporate shills that pose as leftists and then demonize trying to cut our taxes, trying to cut the corporate tax so jobs come back to America. These are people that think they own us. And I've got a clip coming up in the next hour of Democrats just savagely tearing into a black lady that dares to expose the fact that abortion targets African Americans unfairly, that Margaret Sanger set it up to do so. I played it yesterday, but it's so powerful, I'm going to play it again. We've got phone calls here we're going to take now and into the next hour. Roger Stone's going to be joining us riding shotgun. But Dr. Group, get back into the routers in the cable boxes, in the switchers, in the systems, have always been carrying this tech to watch and spy and gather proprietary information, dial into things in the home, and literally bathe your home in this 5G while spying on you. And again, it's all about forcing it on us, forcing. I told people 20 years ago, they had cameras and microphones and Scientific Atlantic cable boxes. It all came out later. Google now admits they're doing it. Samsung, in your terms of service, 20 pages in, says, watch what you say. We have cameras and microphones, and third parties subscribe to listen to you. So the government, through a subscription, can just go through your house and watch and listen to you, Dr. Group.
It's pretty scary. They know every single thing about you. If you do use those devices, and I mean, even cell phones, I mean, these days with everybody in social media all the time, I mean, it's, you know, they sell that information to advertisers.
And that's bad enough, though. This is breaking into your house, doing it beyond Big Brother. So tell folks what you discovered.
I just like to issue health warnings to people because these are serious things. And recently it's something that I've been looking into. And it's the implementation of the 5G.
Let's just stop. I have to interrupt. They're putting CNET News, all of it, years after we told you on screen, going, oh, Samsung records the chatter and watches it and listens and sells it. Think about if your neighbor you caught in your corner listening to you, you'd kick their butt. But again, they just do it. They just do it. They're just doing it. And I'm even thinking to myself, I don't even watch TV hardly. Why do I have these smart TVs in my house? Why haven't I even told my wife or myself go in and turn off the permissions, which I've done before? But it just shows like an old TV breaks, you put a new one in, it's even creeping in on me. That's just how they do it.
Yeah, that's exactly how they do it. The thing is, when you can't see it, feel it, touch it, hear it, that's the things that make me the most nervous, because that's having an effect. Like Masaru Emoto, who was doing study on the effects of water, and out of every single thing he tested in water, the most damaging effects came from electromagnetic frequencies, microwave radiation. Yet we still microwave our foods. We expose ourselves to massive amounts of electromagnetic frequencies. By the way, I just thought of this. Electromagnetic frequencies.
You're getting into how it's bad for us. I'm getting into how they're spying and dialing and everything. Remember all the old movies where, like, you go in the creepy castle and the eyes are following you through the painting? I mean, why do we put up with this?
But think about this.
But how about how we're vindicated?
But the eyes aren't following you now. They're radiating these things going doo, 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 doo.
So instead, it's like Zod shooting lasers.
It's shooting a harmful microwave radiation into your body, which, look, the coming upgrade to 5G is likely going to lead to disastrous biological effects because of the amount of dehydration inside cells that it will cause.
So they're putting systems to fry us just in our houses, and then we accept it and we get cancer and die, and they go, liberal, liberal. And as long as you go liberal, liberal, it's okay.
It's more dangerous.
They'll have Salon and Newsweek make jokes and say, why are they obsessed with pedophilia when they're all getting arrested? And why do they care about getting cancer? Well, just why do they care?
So think about all the news every single day about terror organizations and terrorist groups. This is more dangerous than a terror group because this one kills you without you even knowing that.
Terrorist organization found in most U.S. homes. There's your headline.
Yeah.
But again, it's the magnitude and the organized evil of it. When even 40 years ago, when they were first coming out with cell phones, I remember the top engineer over the program went public and said, this needs to be studied. Our early studies show increased cancer in rats, and that was much weaker.
If they came and knocked on your door when you called for Wi-Fi for them to come and hook up internet access at your house, and they said, do you mind if we put a small cell phone tower in your house to where people can access it if they're driving by and it acts as a router, what would you say?
And oh, by the way, the cell tower also dials in everything you're doing.
It also listens and
we're putting a Wi-Fi system in your houses and making you pay for it while we're at it and spying on you. How's that sound?
You're basically hosting a mini cell phone tower in your home is what you're doing. And you're paying for it. You're actually paying them. We
need to take this minute you just said and put it on the front of this because this is so important.
Cell phone tower in their house. And the sad thing is they're doing it with schools, and they're paying schools to put these 5G.
And imagine if aliens landed and put little antennas in your house that slowly kill you and spy on you. We'd smash them. But because it's corporations and we've been trained to love it and buy it, we pay to die. We pay to be spied on. We pay. We pay.
Yeah, and they're just laughing. They're like, ha, 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 they're paying for it, and we're killing them, and they're going to be sterile. Because one of the things that your 5G antenna does...
Prepare to meet your maker. It will help kill you slowly.
So you know how everything is an attack on the brain, right? The fluoride, chlorine, bromine, and everything. So the
cell phone towers and cell phones rattle the DNA until it breaks within minutes.
Attack 4 things: our health, brain function, dumb us down, integrity of our genomes, breaks the DNA strands, and our ability to produce healthy offspring, which means it creates sterility. Again, with all the phthalates, with all of the endocrine disrupting chemicals that we're exposed to, that are all attacking our hormonal system to cause sterility with the glyphosate and all of the GMO foods and the attack on our gut and all the chemicals.
And the sperm count's down 90%.
We're, like we were talking about last time, they're going to be looking for people, and people are going to be paying $1 million an ounce for clean sperm. I mean, like, that's going to be.
Well, we know Obama does.
That's going to be a. That's going to be a big time business in the future. So anyway, it is something that people should be aware of. If you do have wireless routers, look, if your city is.
By the way, I'm not against the fact that Obama's a sperm bank.
How much would you pay for Obama's sperm?
We're trolling the media, folks. It's a joke. Okay, let's stop right there. I want to go to some phone calls. I got to do it.
Okay, let me read one thing. The California Medical Association, the branch of the AMA, wrote this in 2014. Peer-reviewed research has demonstrated adverse biological effects of wireless EMF, including single and double-stranded DNA breaks, creation of reactive oxygen species, immune dysfunction, cognitive processing effects, stress protein synthesis in the brain, altered brain development, sleep and memory disturbances, ADHD, abnormal behavior, so they can sell you the mental drugs,
sure, of course, liberal,
sperm dysfunction, and brain tumors. Be aware. Be aware.
And here's the bottom line. 20 years ago, I would read articles about cell phones within 1 minute breaking DNA in the DNA strands, and then there it is in the new report.
Yeah, I mean, that's been out. People been getting tested.
20 years ago, they admitted that a few minutes a day on a cell phone raises brain temperature up to a degree.
Yes.
It actually heats your brain. They knew back in the 40s when they first got radar, they didn't think, and guys would stand in front of it to warm up, but then they'd be dead a month later. And so the military put out memos saying, don't stand in front of the radar. They used to heat their food up in front of it, too. It's the same deal.
And now you can't sue the wireless companies because they already have all those the government protection. So just like... Can you
imagine being in the Army Air Corps in like 1946 and you think, I'll just stand in front of the radar. Boy, it makes me warm. They didn't know.
What about Los Alamos?
You know the scientists knew, though. They, hey, boys, don't stand in front of the radar. It'll kill you.
Look at what's happening. Look, here's another study. Chemotherapy may damage fertility of patients' children, which means if you have chemotherapy now,
passes it on.
The offspring.
And we've always known the chemicals do that. I mean, we are under major attack.
72% fewer babies.
We're going to break. We're going to come back, I promise, and go to Michael, Noel, Scott, Al, Danny, Jason, Kevin, and others. Don't forget, store-wide free shipping. We hardly ever do that. Infowarsstore.com. And 50% off on a whole bunch of our best-selling items. Some of those are lost leaders now. A lot of them are at cost. So buy a lot of stuff. We need to fund our operation. Super male, 50% off. Super female, 50%, and free shipping on all of it. Bomb Defense, back in after months being sold out, still 50% off. That's a real 50% off. We don't raise the price and lower it and play games. All apparel, 50% off. T-shirts, ball caps, everything. Vitamin Mineral Fusion back in stock, 50% off. Secret 12, 50% off. Super Blue Fluoride mouthwash, 50% off and free shipping. DNA Force back in stock after almost 4 months, 25% off, and so much more. Commit to go to InfowarsStore.com today and help fund our operation as we just sit here like sane people, raising the alarm and actually getting a lot of folks to listen. The good news is if humanity wakes up, we can, as consumers, change all this, but not if we wait much longer. We'll be back. Hour number 4. Your phone calls. Roger Stone, Dr. Group. It's the 34-hour transmission. We're 4 hours in.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com.